Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today is a very special day because today we are going to take a deep dive into how you can trade with zero stress and no emotions. It's actually fairly obvious when you see what I have to show you, so the good news is anyone can do it. In fact, I would go as far as saying everyone should be doing it. Now we're about to get straight into it, however what I will say first is this. As many of you that have watched my videos will know, I do things very differently to the retail crowd, and the approach you'll see today is exactly that. Very different to the retail crowd. Now, whilst I do have a lot of time for traditional psychology, things like meditation or fitness or mental techniques to help you control emotions, the reality is when you go to work every day, you tend not to rely on any of those things if you want to really elevate yourself in your career at work. You do what? You understand your product better. The better you understand your product, the less stressful or emotional your job is. In fact, it becomes quite enjoyable when you understand your product better than anyone else. If you're studying at college or university, to really be the best, you do what? Understand your topic better. The better you understand your topic, the less stressful things are. So it'll be no surprise to you that that is what we are going to do today. Understand our product better. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to get straight to the point here. No messing about. I'm going to give you two scenarios. Okay. Within 1 minute, I want you yourself to come to the conclusion that you probably don't understand your topic as well as you think you do, the topic of trading. Right, so let's look at two scenarios. One scenario is, let's say scenario one is you have a clear definition of where you want to get into the marketplace. So you know if the market goes here, you're ready to go and you want to, take your trade higher. You also know that down here you have, in these areas, you have no interest in trading. Okay, so you know you can sit back and relax. So clear definition of where you want to enter and exit. Very, very clear definition, right? So we have this spot here. If the market does anything else but come into this area, we know exactly what we have to do, right? Now let's look at a different scenario. I want you to look at scenario number two. And I've actually got a traditional chart here. Okay, which is the same. It's exactly identical period, but using more of a traditional retail chart, which is fine, as a starting point. However, I just want you to see kind of how little you understand your topic, okay? Because the market's come down and then it's starting to go up, right? So the market's come down and it's starting to go up. Or you could say it's this area and it's starting to go up. Either area is fine because they both happen within this vicinity. So the point is, number two is there's no clear definition. Like, do you enter here? Do you enter here? Do you enter here? Do you enter here? Oh no, maybe you enter here. Maybe, oh no, maybe we should enter here where this green candle is and there's some buying here. Or maybe it should be here, or maybe even here, or maybe it should be here. I think you get the point. Right? Is it here? Is it here? Well, actually, no, here. Or, where should I exit? If it goes over here, should I exit? Or should I exit here? Or maybe over here? Or I could go on all day, okay? Maybe I should exit here. Oh no, you know what? I've entered here, so maybe this is the complete and utter mess, right? There is absolutely no clear definition. So you do not understand your topic. So how is that going to help you trade with no stress? Can you see the difference? No stress. Why? Clearly defined point that you want to exit. And I'll mention as well where you want to enter. Clearly defined point when you want to enter. And where you want to exit, we'll talk about in a moment. Here, 1,001 places you could enter, 1,001 places you could exit. How is that going to help your stress levels when you're trading? Do you see you're lacking an understanding of your topic? Okay, and we're going to press play in a minute. You're actually going to see me trade this market live. This exact thing that you see here on this chart, you're going to see me trade it with some more information, you know, some more detailed information, which actually, you know, even though on the face of it, it looks like I'm looking at more, I'm probably actually looking at more simplistic things that are helping me create structure. Okay, and I don't mean structure, you know, we hear about structure a lot in the retail sense. I'm talking more about the type of real life structure that you would go through in a real life situation. You know, maybe you're on eBay and you have a very clearly defined point that you're going to buy an item. You know, you tell yourself, right, this is the point where I'm going to get involved. You know, it could be $10 exactly, and if it goes above 12, that's my stop point. You see, it's very clearly defined and you don't have much stress then. Whereas if you're just kind of swinging for the fences, you don't really know what price you want to get involved, clearly that's going to do what? Increase your stress. All right, can you see how important it is to understand your topic, right? And that means having what? Information. Okay, information. If you don't have the information, do you see what you're doing? You're inviting stress and significant emotion into your trading. It's ironic because people are looking in the wrong places. You know, we're going to hit play and you'll see me trade this market now. Just want to get on with it a little bit, but just want you to see how much, ironically, by looking at things that you think are quite simple, you know, and I do look at charts, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but really it's just a very small part of the trading. If you're looking at things like this, you may think it's simplistic, but ironically, it's actually causing you a lot of stress because you're lacking information, which means you're lacking an understanding of your topic, okay, which means your stress is going to be dramatically increased. Okay, so let's just quickly talk about how we want to define the areas that I just spoke about. How can we reduce our stress? You know, let's get rid of this by having clearly defined points. Right? And you can think of, and we're going to take 2 minutes and we're going to get on with it, and I will show you, but think about it. It is important. I want you to realize how obvious this is. Yet when people are trading that I see in the more traditional sense, you know, whether they're drawing some lines here or whether they're using things like a plain chart that lacks a lot of information, they're not doing what is obvious, basically. You know, like in your day-to-day job or your real life situation, like I said, you know, when you're buying things, and ultimately all you're doing here is you're buying something, you know, whether it's here, it's the equity market, whether it's the Forex market, you're buying something. You know, if you went down to a car dealership and you're buying something, you have a price in mind. So you don't have stress because you know, okay, this is the exact price. I'm going to buy this car. Right, it's a terribly drawn car, but that is a car, believe it or not, with some wheels. That's the point I'm going to buy. I'm not interested at any other price. You know, if it's too high, I'm not interested. Right? You have a clearly defined price in mind. Right? Without having the information, how are you going to make that decision, right? In the car market, you have that information. You see where other people are buying and selling because you have access to that information, be it in a classified magazine, an ads magazine. You see the order flow. You see what people are buying and selling. Here, you don't have that. You're inviting stress into your trading, and that's only going to be bad for you, okay? So let's have a look at how you can actually de-stress yourself by utilizing information that you see in front of you that everyone has access to. Now, I've mentioned this before, market profile. You know, we won't go into a lot of details here because I do have many videos about this, but just getting you started, these are just the days of the week, and you can see the market's been consolidating. Sorry, you'll have to forgive me, I'm not very good at drawing, but you can see the market's been consolidating for 4 days and then it's broken out. So, you know, it's kind of expected that you might have a bit of a pullback and a continuation. Right, very obvious stuff. So this is the pullback that's coming. You can see it here as well. Okay, so like I said, a traditional chart is fine. You know, it gives you some information. That we can see that the market is pulling back. You know, just like you see, you know, on this chart that we had earlier, you can see the market is pulling back. But really, what else is it telling you? That's, you know, that's kind of like just stage one. You then need to de-stress the situation. Okay, how do you do that? Well, we know sellers are coming in. You can see it here. So we know we don't want to get involved. But where do we want to get involved? As in, we were expecting this pullback and we're then expecting continuation. But where do we want to get involved? You know, I said, is it here? 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 Maybe it's over here. Maybe, you know, you just don't know looking at that. So we need to start digging a little bit deeper. Okay, so what we can see first is, it's fairly clear. We can see where the market's interested in selling. Right, so we know it's here. We know there's quite significant selling happening here. Don't necessarily need to look at something like a depth of market, which really breaks things down in a granular fashion, because you can see a lot of selling volume coming in here. The footprint is nice because it really kind of summarizes what's going on really at a raw level into what we're used to seeing, you know, like a candlestick format. Just nicely defines it for us, right? So we can see these areas, significant amounts of selling. Okay, and we could get into a lot of detail. I don't really want to, but we can also see here that if we look at the delta is just the difference between the selling volume and the buying volume. So a lot more selling versus the amount of buying. In total for that one candle, 1,743 contracts, and here 1,564 contracts more were sold versus what was bought. Okay, so very negative. Okay, so we know that sellers are kind of in these areas. So we don't want to disturb that. You know, we don't want to cause ourselves stress by getting involved at these levels. What we want to do is we want to really clear these levels. Okay, that's why I've drawn in this area here, clearly defined. You see, I know when I get into this area, these sellers are out of the way. I've de-stressed the situation. I understand my topic, right? Can you see the big difference? I really understand the market dynamic, what is going on. I've de-stressed the situation. I'm really clearing my emotions. Whereas you tell me, looking at that, how do you know where these clearly defined points are? And yep, I know I want to clear them and I want to get in up here. Okay, you know, just coming back to my example, I know I keep saying it, but it is true because probably this is what you're used to seeing, this type of thing. How do you know where those areas are here? Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? You know, where is that key area that you, is it there? Is it there? Is it there? Just don't know. You know, is that my de-stress level? Is that my de-stress? Is it there? Is it there? Is it there? Need I say more? Right? You can see here we have a very clearly defined area where we can say, right, above here, I really want to get in there as tight as possible, because once we get up here, I know these sellers are not only out of the way and not likely to come back in, but also doing what? Closing out these positions. To close out these positions, what are they going to do? Buy, right? When you are in a sell position and it goes against you, what do? You don't hang on to it forever. You close the position, right? So you buy. So you're going to get out over here. So we're going to have that in our favor. And then we also have a clearly defined point where we want to get out. Because if we come back down into this area, we know the sellers are likely to get, you know, so have some more, be convinced that this is some, you know, basically have more on their side, right? Have some evidence that they should get back in. They're going to be more galvanized or feel like, yeah, this is a good area for us to step back in. So we don't want to be in that area, do we? This is, you could almost call this the stress zone. And this is the de-stress. Okay. Do you see clearly defined? That's how I want to trade. So in fact, if you look, whilst we've been talking, right, I know we've been talking for a few minutes now, in this stress zone, the market's been doing what? It's just been moving around, right? It's been moving around. I'm very relaxed. I'm emotionless. I know I want to get into the market and buy it. but I'm very emotionless, right, in this area. Can you see the market's just doing its thing? I don't need to worry because I know that is the area that I'm interested in buying the marketplace, you know, to get this continuation, okay? Can you see the difference? Can you see the difference? Very, very clearly defined. Whereas here, you know, where is that point? Should you be getting back in here? Should you be getting back in? Oh, maybe it's here. Or maybe this, you know, little green candle there. Or maybe it's here. Or maybe it's this one. Oh, maybe it's this one, you know, or maybe it's this one. You're going to be all over the place. Okay, so, and I'm not saying you need to do anything overly complicated. You can see it's fairly basic in terms of my overall bias. I'm literally just looking at some consolidation. We've come out, we've had a pullback, and we're just looking for a continuation, right? So it's, in terms of actually the contextual idea, it's actually quite simple, okay? And there will be things like, obviously, the Federal Reserve is, you know, being predicted to cut interest rates. There's a lot of bullishness in the market, but generally, putting all that aside, which is important, when we come to actually execute, we've de-stressed the situation because we understand our topic greatly, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to forward it a little bit because the entry, believe it or not, actually took about another 30 minutes. Now, can you imagine for 30 minutes this market's moving up and down? You put yourself in the situation, we've all been there, you're stressed. I will show you, right? So there's the actual market moving. Can you see it's moving up, down? Should I get in? Oh my God, no, maybe not there, maybe here, yeah, no, yes, no, yeah, oh, maybe now I should get in. I don't see all of this time. This is 20, 30 minutes now. The market's just moving up and down. I'm relaxed because it's not, I'm not in that area that I've clearly defined. It's going to give me the maximum return for the lowest amount of stress. I'm not there yet, right? So still another 10 minutes, believe it or not, fast forwarding it now. Okay. We still haven't, you know, the sellers still haven't completely given up. They're about to, because I think it will dawn on them. You know, there's been a lot of selling taking place here and it's not necessarily working out for them. There's sellers here, we talked about it before, and there was over here, the market's now moved on a little bit. But in this area, and then, you know, we've had some selling coming in here as well. You can see them, they're still trying. But it's not, the market's not moving. You see, so eventually it's going to dawn on them. And when it will ultimately dawn on them is when we get up here. Okay, so let's see that happen now. Like I said, very, very relaxed, de-stress the situation. Let's actually see that happen. Okay. So let's just watch it play out. Take 10 seconds, I think. And you'll see me enter the market in this area. Okay, we're going to come into it. Like I said, this is in real time. It is my, you can see it's my actual trading account, and I'm just very relaxed. I can see we're entering into the area. Do you see I haven't pulled the trigger yet? There we go. Now starting, you can see it. Do you see that? A lot of sellers exiting their positions now because they're realizing, oh, I better get out of this. Better get out of this now. You know, it's not going the way I want it to. Do you see they're all come in there, right there? All this buying. Let me just clear that a little bit. There you go. Okay, and then eventually the market just pops up, and do you see I just entered the market right there. Clearly defined zone. Okay, the market's been entered. Let me just show you that again. Clearly defined zone. Okay, so I've been pointing that area out for a long time. How relaxed was that? All of this stuff going on for 40 minutes. I wasn't interested. I was relaxed, very relaxed. Markets come into this area, and what did I say? I know if we come back into this zone, I'm really not interested in the trade. So you can see the stop is there. And I think as we start to move up, I do even move it up even further, maybe into this area. I know I want to get out further up. Just back up into the highs, and taking my positions right there. Okay, you can see it here. Okay, let me just clean this up for you a little bit. Let's fast forward it. Very relaxed. Okay, did you see the market is now starting to move quite rapidly? Stop has been moved up. Entry is in that area that we talked about, that clearly defined zone. Above what? Where all the selling took place. Sellers. Okay, very de-stressed. So what if it doesn't work out? Because I know exactly where it won't work out, where I'm not interested in the trade. I can always get back in if the market comes back into this area, but down here, I'm not getting the most efficient use of my capital. Take the stop. De-stress the situation, no emotions. And once we're into this area, I know it's likely that the sellers are really not going to be interested in that area because the continuation is on. Right? You put yourself in a seller's position. This market starts ramping up. You've just got burnt once. Are you really going to want to get back in? Probably not. So you should see some very significant selling. And you don't need to take my word for it. Do you see this? Can't see virtually not a single seller. Right? So I might as well sit back. I've de-stressed the situation. And let's fast forward it. Takes a little bit of time. Right? See another 20 minutes or so. But I'm relaxed. Because I understand what I'm doing. I understand what the market is trying to do now. And there we go. You hit the point that I wanted it to hit. Okay. So $1,450. Okay. You can go back and watch it. I think the most it went against me was, I don't know, maybe a couple of $100. Okay, I was willing to take more drawdown than that, maybe $500 or $600 or $700. I was willing to take that much more drawdown, but I just didn't have that much drawdown on this trade because it was so well defined. You know, sometimes, of course, markets can be a bit up and down, and the sellers can take a little bit of convincing that, you know, it's not going to happen for them. But fortunately, in this situation, it happened quite quickly. Okay, so you can see clearly defined, de-stressed. Okay, and one final time, right, I really want to bring this home for you. Look at the difference compared to that situation there. I mean, how do you know? You know, how do you know where the sellers are in real trouble? You just don't. Okay, and I want to repeat it. I'm not saying using a candlestick is completely useless. You know, people misunderstand. Of course not. And I've got a candlestick chart. Of course, it tells you decent general information like where price is and direction and things, but really that's where it ends. You know, it's not understanding your topic, right? It's like going to work. Fine, you've got a desk to sit on. But how far is that going to get you? You then actually need to understand what you're actually doing, right? And that's where it really helps, not only in terms of helping you become consistent, but you know, the whole point of this video was helping you with your emotions, right? So, you know, and I'm not saying trading psychology isn't useful, but by far, this is much more important. What good is it if you've got the best mental state in the world, but you don't understand your topic? You know, there's no point. If you found that useful and want to continue trading stress-free, check out this video here for more detailed live trading. See you on the other side.